Warning: all stories could be completely made up, and we have no way to confirm that. Any and all names mentioned in the show are most likely fake. We at Campfire Moto Stories are not journalists and should not be considered as much. If you're offended by anything said or shown in this episode, we don't care, but we encourage you to voice your opinion so we can laugh at the fact that you can't control your emotions. This program contains full language, and I recommend no one to watch or listen to this.
The views and opinions expressed in the program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the sponsor, any advertisers, or the sponsor's affiliates, employees, or partners.
Coming to you live from the Claremont Lounge in Atlanta, Georgia, it's Campfire Moto Stories.
Hey everyone, welcome to Campfire Moto Stories. I'm Anthony Bennett. I'm thrilled to have you join us today for our live show. This YouTube show / podcast is all about sharing amazing motorcycle stories from everyday riders like you. Whether it's an epic ride, funny mishap, or an unforgettable adventure, we want to hear it all. Today, we have some fantastic guests in the studio who we'll introduce in just a moment, where we'll dive into their riding stories. Plus, we have exciting segments lined up, including pre-recorded interviews, tech tips, spotlight a stolen bike, and stories sent in by you through website and or phone line. I'll have the phone lines on, so make sure to call in anytime, especially if it has something funny to do with our guest. Lastly, you'll get to hear an awesome story from my 5-year-old son about riding. May or may not be completely made up. But hey, 5-year-old can tell a great story, so can you. Don't forget, you can earn entries into our giveaway by participating in the show. Check out campfiremotostories.com for all the official rules, and by participating in any way, shape, or form, you indicate that you've read the official rules, our terms and conditions. Let's get it started.
Another lap around the wall, another request, another call. All I need, I can't reply at all.
Hey, my whiskey. Yup, wrong one. There we go. I got the thing switched up. Hey, I'm Anthony. I'm with Campfire Moto Stories. Which camera am I looking at here? Is that one? We messed up all the wires. Put this together last second. I've got a Florida legend in the house with me. Well, actually, I'm in your house, sir. We're here at Dade City live for Day in the Dirt with Randy Yoho. Owner, CEO, about to be retired guy. I mean, you got we were saying it earlier. You got to be up in age, sir.
I don't know what I am.
Yourself now.
I don't know.
He's the boss. That's what he is. Let's just say that for sure.
The delegator. We delegate a lot more now, so getting a little bit too old to do everything like I did back in the day. So we delegate to a lot of people now.
So I always start the show off with a icebreaker in case my guests are a little bit nervous. And you're going to be wondering how the hell I know this.
Oh, my goodness. Do I look nervous? I'm tired.
Should be now.
It should
You're
be.
a little bit tired, yeah.
No.
So the guy lived in my neighborhood. I've seen this picture. I tried to get it from him so I could pull it up on the screen right now.
Tell you if it's true or not.
Do you want me to tell this what I know, or do you want me to start and let you take off?
I don't know. Tell me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Robbie Gordon.
Okay. Gordy. Yeah.
Some bolt cutters. The track was closed.
Oh, that's a true story.
That was the
True
first
story.
time you ever ran the race here. Is that
True
correct?
story. It turned into my career. That's a true story.
That's what he said. So his daughter and I are real close in age, and he lived in my neighborhood that I grew up in Tampa. And just one day I'm over there talking, and he's like, oh, you race dirt bikes? I used to race back in the day. And I'm like, okay, old man. Yeah, all right, whatever. So he shows me a picture of him beating you. He's like,
let's just stop this program right now, okay?
and he said,
go ahead, you finish it because I'm going to finish it for you.
He said Randy would pay all the money in the world to get this picture back from me. But then he showed me the picture of the cop car. You can totally tell it's in like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys take over whenever you want, or just let me keep going. My version I heard
Now, hold on. Let's go back to Gordy beating me.
All right.
Only if I crashed. Okay, let's get that straight. So
right.
Sorry, Robbie. That's my version anyway. But go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
so
that's probably why, because he beat me.
Yeah.
Oh, because I freaking fell. So yeah, one night you guys showed up to the track, and there's a close sign on the door. Fill in the gaps for me.
So we were racing up here, on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Service, which has now passed away. So have to go with my story.
Okay.
So we were good friends with Gary, and so we get there, and he's in Waimama, so he's 30, 40 miles away. And we get up here, and there's a line of people, and it is not raining. It's raining everywhere but here.
Okay.
And so I'm going, we're not going to turn these people away. Gary, and we try to get a hold of Gary, and can't remember, but I don't think we could get a hold of Gary.
You didn't just get out your cell phone and
No,
and call
it
him?
wasn't
What
like
year
that.
was this?
It's going to be probably 76, 75,
Okay.
6, 7, somewhere in there. Long, long time ago. So the stories gets told lots. But anyway, so we can't get a hold of Gary. So I didn't think any, because I would shoot some if they did this to me. So anyway, so we open we get lock cutters, and we all decide we'll cut the lock, we'll collect the money, and then we'll call Gary. And when we get a hold of Gary, we'll give him the money. We just start it. We don't know what we're doing, but we're going to start it. So we get there, and one of his other friends or Gary got a hold of Gary, and he just goes off like he should have. And so he gets me on the phone, and he's just madder than hell. And he says, "Randy, I'm coming up there. I'm bringing the cops." So, okay, Gary, what do you want? And he said, "Give all that money back." I said, "Okay." So I got everybody up there and give all the money back. And Gary gets here, and he goes, "Where's that money at?" I said, "I give it all back, Gary." He says, "You're kidding me, right?" He says, "Because it was a lot of people."
Yeah.
So my version is that was the first time I collected all that money. I said, "Man, this is a lot better than working at a bike shop. I got to run a racetrack for a living one day." So
I thought that's so cool that's kind of how you got your start with it.
It was one of the reasons that kind of went, wow, I didn't know these promoters made that much money.
Yeah.
So just kidding, guys. But that's a true story.
Yeah, I could not believe it when I heard it. And Gordy said he was trying to give it back to people, and people were like, "No, you guys ran, like, this was great. You keep it.
Yeah.
Is that kind of part of it too?
Yeah, everybody didn't want all the money back, but it was never an intent to keep the money. It was trying to get the program started, because time he drove all the way up here.
Yeah.
And back in those days, we started at 7:00.
Mm-hmm.
So it was going to be a late night, and what people don't realize is totally different type of racing and stuff back in the 70s. So it was really different. But I haven't forgot that story, so it's true.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't know that I knew that one. So didn't this start as a flat track at one time too?
Yeah, this was a flat track. Jay Livingston's dad run it.
Mm-hmm.
Good short track racer. So then Gary Service got it, and I think there were some people before Livingston had it, but there was a autocross course here. So I had rode my Enduro up here and road raced it on this course before.
Oh, okay.
We've tore most of the asphalt out of here, but we get go to the concession stand, get a little pie plate and put a number on it, and race and drive the bike home. So different times.
Speaking of the pie plates, that reminded me, dude, I would starve myself to have a burger here every Thursday night when I would come for breakfast. Dude, you had the best $5 or $6 burgers back in 05 to 07, like when I was coming here every single Thursday.
No, a lot of people, Mom passed away this year.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask that.
She, handmade those hamburgers back then.
So
and, myself running the track for 46 years, and Mom's was here with us the entire time, and had the old concession stand over where the horse arena was. And this, it's evolved a lot before this fancy building and all the stuff that we've done, but it's come a long way from getting the racetrack. But I got some crazy stories about that, but.
Do you want to get into it? It's what we're here for.
It's going to make me look like a real hillbilly dumb guy, but
No, I got some things in here that can make you like an ass. So, which one do you want, Randy? You tell me, man.
Yeah, I'd rather have my version of the ass. How's that? But no, it was that was one of the things Gordy was talking about, was one of those first things that started us to, do the racetrack. But that wasn't the main thing, So we were working the Suncoast Honda dealership in Tampa, and they asked me if I would help them run a racetrack. They were going to lease Golden Eagles.
Oh, okay.
You don't have that in your notes?
No.
You're not a very good reporter.
But
go ahead.
My dad was president of Golden Eagles for the longest time, so I know
Oh.
all about the old
Golden Eagles.
racetrack that
Yeah.
was there and everything. Ray talked about that a lot racing there on the last show.
And we go by there and we looked at it. It was probably like racing inside this building.
Yeah,
It's
it was
small.
not big. I
It was
remember all the
small.
pictures.
But I don't remember it being that small. I knew it was a little, little small, but nothing like when I went by. I went, wow, my memory's terrible. But the bikes were smaller then, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Less horsepower. But we ran that. So Winston Willis was the name of the guy that ran the Suncoast Honda. Then Sharon was helping him. And anyway, I ran it for a year and a half or so and helping him. And I don't know if I should talk about this stuff, but anyway, some money went missing. And I said, this ain't right. Okay, we'll shorten it up a little bit. So it's not right. And then they fired me. And it wasn't me taking the money, but I was talking about somebody else taking the money. And so 3 months later, I'm watching TV and I got mad because I got fired and I did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when they did, I came up to Dade City and leased this place.
Nice.
That's how it happened. And fortunately, Mr. Clayton with the Fair Board was, he told me after we got to be good friends, I was going to lease it to him whether he liked it or not because I just would not go away. So,
You're pestering.
so I had my 73 Courier truck with roll-up windows, little 4-cylinder motor, and so he says, hey, they made a lot of mistakes, and the guy got killed in the pit area and a bunch of stuff, and that's why we closed it for 6 years, because when Gary was running it. And anyway,
You're good.
so, anyway, so he said, excuse me, a lot of guys were
We're drinking some beer.
We're drinking some beer.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
That's why you get these stories, the beer.
Yeah,
But
that's why I fed you one as soon as
yeah,
you walked in.
hey,
Here,
drink this. But
you want some whiskey too?
no,
Come on.
no.
Okay.
So anyway, we're talking about Mr. Clayton leasing to us. So he told me to put a proposal together for him. So I'm pretty uneducated at 19 years old, and so I went out to my Courier, and I had a little yellow sheet just like this, and I went down and wrote all this stuff on it, and the things I would fix. And about 2 hours later, I walked back in and handed Mr. Clayton, and said, here you go. So I've always wanted to find that and frame it.
That would be pretty cool.
But
You can't remember what you wrote down? Wasn't it just a few years back, sir?
yeah, no. But so he asked me to tell him about the problems they had and how I would fix them. So I did, and it was in '78, so there was kind of a recession going on. And he said, "Why don't you wait?" I said, "Well, if I can make it, Mr. Clayton, in the recession, I can make it, when it's good."
Anytime, yeah.
And he said, "All right." So he leased it to me for $1,000 a year. So
All right.
he goes, "Randy, you got $1,000?" I said, "No, I do not." And so he goes, "You have $100?" I said, "No, but I can get 100." So I borrowed $100 and to come back up the next day, and we wrote a contract, and he financed it for me.
No way.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so I paid $100 a month.
So this started with $100.
Yeah, and I didn't have the 100,
essentially.
and I didn't
You
have
had
the
to
100.
borrow it.
So yeah, that's more or less. There's some other side stories in there too, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the way it started. We would get farmers because we didn't have no money, so we'd drive around and find a guy with a tractor and ask him to come tractor the track. And I think I paid him $35. He'd come water it and tractor it. And we started with about 20 riders, and we got 30, and we got 40. We were really thinking we were getting somewhere, and I can remember it took a few years, but we got 100 riders, and we were on our way. So
Yeah. It always usually gets started. Well, I'm going to back a little bit to where I said I'm going to make you look like an ass a little bit.
Go
Because the
ahead.
next question that I had for you, sir, is how many people have you kicked out?
I love one. Only so that's. I'm glad you brought that up.
Do I need to leave?
No. After the show. But back in the day, we were pretty hardcore, and And it was a situation where I always laugh. I said, well, we're going to make it whether we can or not. So otherwise, we don't have a choice. This is all I have. So we're going to make this thing work. And so we had a vision. And but I would say out of all the people, which is a lot through the years, 46 years, probably hasn't been one that hasn't come back.
That is true.
Okay. So we always just laugh about that and go, I don't want to say nothing, but you're coming back and you're going to beg me to come back here whether you like it or not. So
back with the tail between the legs, Randy. I'm sorry.
And I do, right. And I go, hey, then I always ask them, I said, did you deserve it? And they go, yeah, kind of at the time. Yeah.
Yes.
But time it was the thing.
Yeah, that's
the heat of the moment.
Yeah, like that. That's gonna say like the next bullet point I have is most of the reason I feel it's total BS. And if they would have just taken a second to breathe,
Well,
it could have been
in the early days when I was young. So having an A personality, racer mentality, it's black or white. It's right or wrong.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot of gray, but I still don't like it.
Yeah.
I still don't like it. I think you're either right or wrong. But the whole world doesn't think like I think. So how's that?
Yeah.
And let's say that my way of thinking may not necessarily be the right way. Just because I think it's right doesn't mean it's right, But
does Teresa agree with that or no? Teresa's his wife or anybody.
Yeah. She thinks I'm crazy. Okay. I tell her my bipolarism is caused by my customers.
Fair.
We could.
But honestly, I don't know how many times I've seen a kid do a wheelie in the pits, and I'm like, "Ooh, you're fucking up."
We were here when the guy got killed in the pit areas, and so I've seen it. And that's why they closed the track. So my track got closed for 6 years that I was racing at.
No.
So that pissed me off, and I seen it, and I've seen Pee-wee kids that we've had to lift cars off in our pit area in our place because, they don't know what's going on. They're driving around. We had one really close the other day. But, we're trying to avoid those situations.
Yeah.
And from my experience, too,
I said this back when I was racing here a lot. And if anybody doesn't know, I basically grew up 30 minutes down from 3 years old till 22. I was racing here when I moved to Georgia. So thank you for those amazing memories, sir. But you're fair. Yeah. You don't play favorites. Nope. It could be your best friend or your best friend's son doing a wheelie. Get out. You know what I mean?
We threw my own son out for a year and a half. We didn't pardon his ass. How's that?
You're fair across the board. You break the rules.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
Well,
until they come back to apologize.
Well, no, we try to. If most of them leave nice, they leave.
Yeah.
Because then we let them come back, But if they show their butt, then we probably don't bring them back. But, this is a tough situation, especially when we're doing sponsor cup, lots of money on the line, different stuff. So it brings out that if it's worth something, they want to fight about it. So we had 0 tolerance on fighting. That's where Kenny got a little time off for a while. But I think
was that the sponsor cup race where a racer who was nameless grabbed somebody by the throat?
Oh no, we'll talk about that. I want to talk about that one. So we'll come back to that.
All right. I'll get us back to it.
Yeah, but he hates that story, by the way. So we really laugh.
Do we say his name? Are you guys cool enough to say it now? Or?
Well, we'll come back to that. So that's a good topic, But where are we at? So back to these people, we're throwing them out. But in the heat of the moment, and a lot of times they leave. They just know. Can't help myself. I got to go take some time off, and then we come back, and everybody's happy. But you got to remember, we're dealing with a lot of kids. Family atmosphere here. And we don't have to call the cops. And we've been here 46 years. Probably the most successful racetrack around.
I would say that, yeah.
I think that would be fair.
Are you sure you want to get that? I mean, are they all different numbers?
No.
If it was the same number, I'd be like, get it.
No, I think I could probably, there's a little thing that turns that off.
Yeah. Here, let me help you, Boomer.
Go ahead. Yeah.
There. I think it's on silent mode.
Thank you.
All right, they won't buck you anymore.
Thank
Fuck
you.
it, do we answer them?
No, put them on the air. But no, I look back. I don't think I'd do it different. I
Yeah.
think I think you hit, and I hope people understand that. I don't play favors.
No.
You can be my best friend, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'm not saying everyone I threw out, I wasn't wrong sometimes too. So but if it was, I did go back and try to make it right. So, but yeah, it's been a journey. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, there was actually a time where you kind of threw me out.
Well, then you're family. You haven't been to Dade City unless you've been pitched, okay?
And it's fair. It wasn't really throwing me out. So, and I wanted to bring this just up, just a difference in time. So by the time I was 16 in 2002, I could drive here, and my dad couldn't always make it. And all he had to do was write on a piece of paper, I'm allowing my son to come, and I'd come. And you guys would let me practice, and everything was fine. Wouldn't let me race, just for practice. And then my dad was at St. Pete at the Suzuki store, and he gave the Sunshine a dirt bike to give away for their banquet.
Okay.
And then you said, nope.
I don't believe that's true. Okay, I
wanted to bring that up because I was always like, something else happened here.
I'm going to say that's not true. Because let's say Tampa, for instance, we did the sound checks for Tampa for Mike Parisi to open that. I tried to help them open Tampa. Well, I did help them open Tampa. So the city of Tampa come up here and did sound checks during our races, so they could. I could prove to them they could pass the sound test. So that's not true. So we've never, Frank that run.
I ran into him at the WW National.
We've always had a good relationship, but no, one thing I don't do is ever, I think tracks are good.
No, the more tracks, the better.
The more tracks are good. I'm not the guy that says, if it's competition, you have to do a better job. No, I don't try to.
I don't think you have to worry about that too much.
No, but I'm saying I do. I'd rather do no tracks, but I think it's good for me. If Tampa opens up and we do a better job, they get new people interested and they come to me.
Yep.
You get tired of Dade City, you go to them, but you don't quit.
Yep.
So the balance is there. Now a new track opens up, we may lose for a little while, but we'll gain in the long run. But we just have to do a good job, and if both tracks do good jobs, it elevates everything for everybody. So I'm
rising tide.
So I'm going to call bullshit on that little story here. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask my dad about that. I'm going to go back and be like, "Hey, what's going on? What did you do?"
Ask Dad. Yeah, you did something else. Okay. All right. Next.
So every single year when I was living down here, I'd always hear this shit, and I always wanted to know what your thought was.
Sure.
Randy lost the lease. There's going to be no more Dade City next year. And I'm like, I hear this every year, people. Like, when are you going to stop saying this shit? Like, no, he's not going to. Hold on. You're going to tell me a guy that brings a lot of money to this city in this county is getting shut down?
Well, no, it's, I listen to people tell me about stuff that's going on, and I just look at them like, wow, I didn't know that, but so, I guess fish stories, the fish gets bigger.
Yeah.
We have some decent long-term leases. We deal with the Fair Association. We try to do very good to the county, the city of Dade City, and we're involved with a lot of their charities and a lot of things that we do in town. And we hope we're a friend of the fair. How's that?
No,
because
you are.
Ultimately they make the decision. But we'll be around 5 or 6 more years anyway. How's that? So, all
right. So 5 to 6 more years, I'm going to hear. Oh, did you hear? Randy lost the lease. He's not.
No. We're really want to make sure that when I'm ready to go, that somebody else continues, and hopefully it goes into some hands that have the qualifications to do it correctly. All
right. Well, my wife is going to be working maybe remote soon, and I work remote. So, I can. We'll talk. We'll talk. All right. Yeah, we'll talk.
Next question.
All right. True or false? It is my understanding that you don't like to drink because you become a nicer guy.
That's true story. I'm drinking now.
I know. This is the nicest you've ever been to me, actually.
That's why I quit drinking. In my job, you can't be nice most of the time.
I really
Yeah.
don't remember who I heard that from, but I made some comment about something and was like, let's just get drunk with Randy at the track someday. And like, no, he won't drink. He said he makes it nicer. And I just remembered that from so long ago.
I've went my whole life probably without drinking, probably until the last, I don't know, 5 years. But I don't like to get drunk, period.
Just, a little buzz going. Right?
But I do start to like the taste of beer. And yeah, I know it's a little weird. I kind of like the taste of it. But it's nice. We're going to boating and stuff. And and it's relaxing. And, I'll drink with you now. How's that?
Cheers, sir.
Cheers.
This is the first beer I've ever had with you.
This is actually pretty good. Thank you.
Sweetwater 420? Or no, Sweetwater IPA. Little Georgia brew.
It's good.
Well, let me know next time you're up in that area. We'll take you out on the lake. And we'll have a few of these. We call them yellows. So how'd you come up with the sponsor cup thing? Because it was genius.
It was, I proud of it. Okay.
You should be.
I'm very proud of it. So anyway, I was going to be stupid and do an East Coast Supercross team. So right before the sponsor cup come on, I called some of my rich buddies and I go, hey, I need 25 grand.
Are these the guys that used to do the dinners with and the bill?
The what now?
There was a dinner that we're not going to go down that road.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there. But no, just local friends of mine that are good that have a little bit of money. And I'm going, hey, listen, we need 25 grand. We're going to do a Supercross team. And you got to fly the races with us. Probably not going to qualify. And if you don't go to the races, I won't take your money. So I think we raised $160,000 somewhere around there. Yep. And so I went out, found a nice semi and a really nice race trailer. We had our training facility up there, 36 acres up in Brooksville, so we had a really nice place to work and build a practice track. But then I had talked to the manufacturers and I could get bikes and parts for free. So we started reverse engineering that to figure out the flights, the riders, even not paying the riders, gets bikes and parts back then. This is probably 2006, 5, 4, somewhere right before the sponsor cup. So we figured out that it would take about $30,000 a week to go racing back then. That's with everything paid. So that means I needed $240,000 to run the East Coast Supercross, somewhere around there.
Yeah, the math adds.
And not to make the main. And set up in a stands.
Show.
So the more we researched, the more we thought about it. I mean, we were really serious. I had put a deposit on the trailer and stuff and had a lot of deals done. And then it just didn't make sense. So my business side said, this is dumb. So I said, you know what? Let me give them the money back. So I gave all my buddies their money back. And
so this was like the early days of Dade City where you're giving all the money?
No, yeah. It's like the early part. Yeah, here, take it back.
Yeah. I know we were talking about racing, but get the money back.
So I came up with the idea. I said, I can put this sponsor cup together, this idea. So I call them my wrestlers. I don't know if you've heard this or not.
No.
So my theory was, I had all these personalities. I had Pinecone, I had Keelons, I had Livesey, all these guys that had these big personalities. And I said, we can make them TV stars. And did you ever watch the TV shows? No, you're not very prepared.
No. I didn't know that you guys had the TV show thing going on until like well into it. But I don't think I could access it in Atlanta at that time.
No, it was
local.
Local,
yeah.
Bright House and Fox Sports Networks. But anyway, so we
I know of it, but I never got to see it because
this show needs to be. I said we're going like a half an hour, but we needed 6 hours.
I told you, I said 1 to 2 hours is what I need, but I've gone to 4.
We're not
We're-
going there.
Dude, we're only 15 minutes into this. It's fine.
Okay, we're going to talk quick.
Yeah.
So now I don't forget what I was talking about.
Pine cone.
So anyway, I pitched this to Vortex, Matt at Vortex,
Okay.
the sprocket company. I said, hey, Matt, what do you think about this? And he said, yeah, I'll do this. So basically, then I called up all the manufacturers, the Japanese brands, and said, hey, I need 2 bikes, and I'll buy them. But I need them at super low cost so I could sell them at the end and get my money back.
Yeah.
So then I said, being a racer myself and knowing how, or used to be a racer, knowing how racers are, and you get a sponsorship and they rag the bikes out and give them back to the sponsors and don't think about the consequences. They don't think down the road, maybe later. So most of the time those bikes come back trash. So I went to the dealers, said, hey, I got this deal. I can get all these manufacturers involved. We can get these bikes, but I want to get the shops back involved like it was when I raced as a kid.
Yep.
So we got the shops back involved, and I said, hey, I'm going to give you 2 bikes, and you don't have to pay for them, but you got to come out here for these race teams. You got to dress in these uniforms. We're going to be on television. I've got a television deal. Pretty much, I'll get it done. So we'll track back to that, how that happened. But so we got Vortex involved as one of the sponsors, and realmotocross.com. I put some money up for that.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I'm glad I remembered that.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So anyway, we got those guys involved. We got the manufacturers involved. We got the television shows lined up. So we're paying $10,000 purses a week. And
Was it that much?
yeah.
Holy! I never got any of it because I was the back marker.
Yeah. So so we got we put this thing together, and it was phenomenal the way it worked. But we had the personalities for the it was just a perfect storm. It was the right time to do it.
Yeah.
And it was some intense racing. We had so many people. And I tell you, with the internet now, because I think we're still, I don't know if we really push on the internet like we do now, but it's amazing the amount of people that showed up here. Looked like a national.
Dude,
It was-
the whole fence
It was
was
the whole
packed.
fairgrounds was full of
Yes.
people. So,
Yeah, there was people standing on the night track even.
oh yeah, no, all the way around where we don't want them and everything. But it was really good, and yeah, it's just good. So we got the shops involved, we got the riders involved, we had a team of our own, and it was just good. But I'll let you go. I'll let you go into the question you wanted earlier.
Well, before I go into that, so this was the pure genius of what my understanding of a part of the reason for a sponsor cup
Oh.
is the fact that you had this amazing talent of B riders in this area,
Yes.
but they can't be open money or the what was it, Dash for Cash you used to do, right? Because then they would be
They would
A
lose.
class.
Yeah, they would lose their
So
AMA ratings and
you
all that.
found a loophole where
Mhm.
if the sponsor got the money,
Got the money, not the
a
riders.
B-class rider could race it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And dude, another genius part to it, and this is what allowed me to race the Sponsor Cup, is you were like, you said, hey, you can get this or this, and this for the year. This is your entry fee. This is your
Mhm.
gate fee. This is your Thursday practice fee for the year.
Mhm.
Why don't you get somebody to sponsor that? And if you just put it into money terms for the whole year, it was like $600, $300. Like if you just go for a whole year for this to get sponsored.
yeah.
So I had free entry, I had free gate,
Yeah.
I had free practice. I just had to show my card at the thing,
Yeah. So,
Like, and if I got hurt, you still had the
that's-
money.
That's the part I like. That's the part
Dude,
I like.
that was genius.
Yes, I will take the credit for that. But
Yeah.
the how that comes about for the amateur program, not only sponsor cup, but we don't take any sponsor money from outside, sponsor money from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We give it to the riders. So you go get the sponsor.
Yep.
They will pay your entry fees, and we'll let you put their signs up and advertise for them. And it helps my riders. And then everybody feels good. It's an all-win.
Yeah, it really was.
It's an all-win. So, and there's a lot of people that say can't afford to race, can go into this program and come out and get to go racing. So, because it's expensive. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
You know? But
Yeah, 'cause we're a bunch of broke, dumb rednecks and whatever they want to call us. But you know,
anyway, yeah, the Sponsor Cup was a cool thing. It made a lot of money for a lot of people. It did good. It brought national recognition to them. I mean, when you look over there at the Butler Brothers pull their rig off, they're here. Paggio brings the Oakley big motorhome down there, parks on the starting line, and it's a really cool story. So, you know, we all know Stewart and Padge and all the guys, and you know, all the kids that raced here at one time. So we're kidding with James because he was still racing. He was in Paris, and he's calling us from Paris. Me and Padge are up on the rig, and he's telling us, who won the sponsor? Who's winning the Sponsor Cup? He wants to know who's winning the Sponsor Cup because they're all friends of his, you know. Or he knows a lot of it. And he says, I said, James, come over here and ride. And he says, man, Randy, if I lose at Dade City, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. I can lose over here. It's okay. But not at Dade City.
It's so cool. Today, they still talk about Dade City on Supercross, you know?
James is so good to us. And actually, Ricky mentioned this week, you know?
I know. Anytime that there's a Florida race, every single year, they talk about, and I feel a little proud that I'm like, I fucking grew up racing there, and they get to hear them in Supercross, you know?
I got to talk
to I can't imagine how you feel about it.
Yeah, I got to talk to RJ. So one time on one of his podcast or something, he says, well, Randy only calls me when I win, you know. And I said, well, keep winning, you know. So I mess with him all the time. So I called him on Tuesday after his Daytona win, you know, and he was busy and he forgot to call me back. So he calls me the next day, you know. So we were talking about it and how proud and neat that is to win Daytona.
Dude, yeah.
You know, so he's such a good family man, and it's just he's doing it right, you know. Good looking, good role model. I mean, you got it all, RJ. You know, and you know, you get mature and you got the experience to do well. And so at the end of the conversation this week, he goes, "Well, I hope to talk to you next week," because he kids me. I only talk to him when he wins. So I said, "Well, sorry."
Do better.
Win,
you know?
win.
I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Actually, his sister walked by me in the pits, and I was like, I think that's Marissa.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in forever,
Well,
but
we threw her out for about 8 or 10 years.
did she apologize to come back?
Oh, she'd call every year. You know, she'd call, can I come back? Nope. You know, so she probably has the longest throw out of all, but just a long. We're just a long story short because we're always good friends with all the Hampshires, but you know, Lori. We always kid the house that we live in, the Hampshire spells, you know, because there's so many of them.
Yes.
So it's been
or relatives like Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson. So Tyson is the reason Kenny got thrown out for like a year and a half. So him and they were throwing it. So they were throwing down the back straightaway, you know. So. I can remember like Tyson's stuff saying, I'm shaking my head. I know what's coming because Kenny's slowing down, waiting on him. So as soon as Tyson's winning, Kenny pins him and knocks him down and stands on his bike. And I'm going, oh, goddamn. You can't do this, Kenny. I own the track. I can't let you slide, you know, because you got to treat them all the same, you know.
Yeah.
So, but Marissa was told not to do something, and she did it anyway. So I said, Marissa, you know I'm going to throw you out if you do this. And she goes, I know, but I'm doing it anyway. I said, all right. I said, you're going to pay the price. So it is funny now that, you know, so her kid comes to our Tuesday night class, and we train them. So it's all good.
Dude, she was so, like, I remember I was like, dude, she's so fast. If I could ever get to that speed, I'd feel amazing. Yeah. And I remember the first time I ever finally passed her, like 3 years later, I was like, I did it. I finally was able to keep up
good times.
But dude, she
good times.
rips.
Well, you got too many stories here.
I know. All right, so let's get to that story that we're talking about. So,
my buddy story.
Yeah, what do you? I don't know much about it. I just, you said I don't research much and whatever, but I text a bunch of people to try to get some info, and I got this story. So,
well, Sponsor Cup was going good, and they were getting a little rough out there, and being it was television, and they were scrapping on the track a little bit. Still got to maintain our law and order. How's that?
That's fair.
We think, so we had these riders meeting up here in the top where we're at right now with all the teams. before the races. And so I said, listen, guys, you can't be fighting in the pit area. I'll lose my insurance. We're going to get sued. It's a bad deal. So I'm going to draw a circle out there in the infield. And if you guys want to fight, you just go out in that circle and we'll let you fight all you want. But you can't be fighting in the pit area. You can fight out there all you want. But if you fight in the pit, it won't throw your ass out again. So,
So you want to fight, you go in the circle.
yeah, go in a circle, So some of the crazy crap we've done through the years is nuts. But, I look back and go, Randy, why you come up with some stupid shit like that? But
Yeah, you
it
were
was
smart
big.
enough to at least
It
put
was
GIF. Like GIF is like, his whole family is like a second family to me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you put him as a ref at one time.
Oh yeah, you know how
He's-
long he lasted. Giff goes, because he's about as nice a guy as you'll ever meet. And Gifford is nice.
and exactly, to put the nicest guy as a ref, like
And
that's,
so
that's genius.
But he wanted it. So he said, no, I can do this, Randy. You're doing it all wrong. You're
He's
throwing them
also a
out.
strong German history,
So comes to me after about 16, Randy, I can't do this no more. These people are driving me crazy. I said, well, Giff, what about Randy? He said, oh, I know why you do it now. So, yeah. It's but now I've let Kyle Cheeseman kind of put him. So I very rarely have to pitch anybody because my wife is like totally against that. She sees no fun in it. But so it's like Teresa, if you don't have law, then you just have it running crazy. But
yeah.
so anyway, sponsor cup's going on. They're getting rowdy. And this is before the circle, so this is how the circle came about. So we're in there, and they're all outside here, and they're all gathered up, and naturally all the crowd runs over there, and everybody's crowding in, and they're about to go at it. And Kenny, not my son, how's that?
I was going to say, do we want to say the name?
No, we'll just say Kenny. And a really good friend of mine. And
Very well-known racer.
very well. Probably won a national, rode for Factory Honda, but I don't know his last name. But anyway, so he can't get to his kid, and they're about to fight, and we're all jammed up, and he goes crazy, and he reaches up and grabs me around the neck and starts choking me, and I'm looking at him like he's not that big a guy, I'm probably 2 heads taller than him.
Do you think he grabbed the wrong guy by mistake?
No.
Oh, he was.
He's mad.
See it right.
Do something. There's no. I want to get him. And he's going off on me. And I'm going. And I look at him just calmly as can be. I'm getting choked. I said, "Hey, quit that." I didn't know what to do. I said, "Let go of me." So I still kid him today, and he hates to talk about it. So I'm glad we are. But
I'm so glad I brought this.
it was the weirdest moment. Like your friend's choking you, like, "Hey, dude, I'm on your side. Quit choking me." But he was just out of control. So, and you just don't want to pop him if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Would have not done any good.
Well, he said, you're a little bit taller. You just.
But I think the worst thing to do is just kind of laugh at him, like, "Quit that." And he's a tough guy.
Or like,
he's a tough
what
guy.
are you doing? Like, maybe smack your mouth.
I wouldn't want to fight him. He's a tough guy, but he was just his kids were involved, and he was out of control, But so naturally, being fair, we have to put him on probation. So we bring him up here for all the riders and tell him like, that shit ain't cutting it no more. You can't choke me, So,
unless you're gonna take me to dinner first or something, right?
So, no, he's paid dearly for doing that. All right, so we cleared that story up.
All right. Also, I remember, and I don't know if it's the same story because I think it's 2 different people. I remember Ryan, I don't remember his last name, Pretty Boy, around 05, 06, like getting hit into, like he got off track, hit the side of the thing, and literally just, like, you just saw him flip up.
Okay.
And it was the only time I've heard you say, I was ready to call the helicopter
Yeah.
for that crash. I think I'm getting stories mixed up because it's been a long time, even for me.
No, you can
And,
get them mixed up. So some of this could be bullshit. This is bench racing,
Somebody
right?
jumped over the fence.
Okay.
And while
Anthony.
jumping over the fence, the rail went up and hit somebody on
bad.
the head.
Yeah, we pitched their ass out for a long time, and we
But-
still pitched that one out. Gene Pearson, yeah.
Okay, do you remember
Oh,
that?
I remember this.
Because the weird parts of what I heard and know about it is they tried to sue the track,
They did.
and you were like, "Nope, that dude fucked up."
Well, no matter what.
And I think they ended up going after his homeowners.
No,
or
they went
something.
after us too. So yeah, no, we went to court on it, and
That one. That one
I got a
too?
great story. I can't even. Probably not supposed to talk about this one, but so
That's what we're here for, sir.
so.
Do you need another beer? Here,
No,
I got another one right here.
Oh, this is what's really bad. Okay, this is how it works. Morgan and Morgan for the people. So anyway, so you get the lady. Let's say the lady, not this incident. Let's just say another incident.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, in general.
You know what? I don't know if you actually listened to the things at the beginning of the show. It says these stories are all made up. They're all fake. Names mentioned, talked about.
But anyway,
the show,
this is how
all bullshit.
This is how I believe it works. Let's go there.
All right, there.
Okay.
Send it.
So you get an accident. Let's say you fall, and somebody tells you to go to the chiropractor and run up a bill, and you get this. So I watched this go down myself in person. So you run up all this bill, but I also was in the mediation because the mediator knew me from the races, and he knew both parties, and I get to sit in with the lawyers on both of them. They go, well, how much you got in lawyer fees? How much you got in chiropractor fees? And how much you want to give her? Okay, that's it. Well, they're suing for $500,000. Well, we're going to give them less than $10,000, and he's going to get less than $1,000. It's the biggest scam on earth.
Dude, it is, right?
But the average person thinks they've hit the lotto. So they spend 2 years going through all this stuff to make the lawyers and them money.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious when they told her how much she was getting. When
Like
she
it was
was
just like
screaming.
a.
Yeah, like it was just, it's dumb. And the problem is if you have a legit problem,
Yeah.
I'm all about you getting some money. But when you do some bullshit claim
Yeah.
that there was a piece of ice in the sand out there and you tripped on it, and we've
In
had
Florida?
Yeah, I know. But no, I'm just saying they're that crazy. We had a lady sue us one time, and she had like 7 or 8 different things. She wasn't and her grandkids race motorcycles here. We threw their asses out too, by the way.
Did they come back?
No, we didn't let them come back. When I thought about it, there's been a couple that hadn't made it back. But what happened? She did this for a living.
Yeah.
And it's sad that can go on. I think they could change the laws to where they would have to pay if they were proven to be fraudulent.
That would make a big
Because
difference. Yep.
right now our whole industry is in insurance problems. You see the pit bike rules,
thing.
all
Yeah.
that.
And there's all these like this side by side's okay. This one isn't.
Oh,
And I'm like,
Well, that makes
what?
no sense to me either.
A side by side's a side by side.
But yeah, I wish. It's it just drives the prices higher.
Yep.
But like I said, we do something wrong. That's what insurance is for. Unfortunately, when riders get hurt, there is no insurance for that.
Yeah.
And our knock on wood, it always holds. The releases do hold up. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Because those people say, well, it doesn't work. Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does. So, you want to protect yourself. The whole time I raced, I had no insurance. I was young and ignorant. I didn't know any better. And I look back and go, what a dummy I was.
Idiot.
It's just, this is a very dangerous sport. I would highly
It is?
suggest,
No.
Really?
But yeah, I would highly suggest that you protect yourself for sure. But anyway, next problem.
Oh, dude. All right. This was crazy to me. I remember GIF talking about a time where I think he was either go meet you for a meeting or something was going to happen. You told him, like, I think it was a sponsor cup meeting. And you're like, I can't go to this. I have to go to a court meeting that I just found about today at 4 p.m. for a 9 a.m. court appearance tomorrow for a sound complaint by some new neighbor.
Well,
And this is like 05. And the reason why this stuck me so well, so a little backtrack to how I got to doing all this shit, is I went down a rabbit hole of, I had a motocross movie story in my head. And I heard a podcast talking about them. Like, somebody should write a good movie. I read like 4 books, wrote the movie. And in the process, I was like, I should do a podcast. I think that'd be pretty cool. And I was like, I'm going to hold up. One of the scenes I wrote was this story of hearing about how you had to find out. Like, it was a pivotal moment in the script of, like, you found out so late that you had to go to court the next day for a noise complaint. Do you remember any of that, or can you tell me
I
about that
think
stuff?
I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know for sure, but so basically a while back.
It was 06.
Yeah, correct. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So one of the county commissioners called, say, Randy, there's a hearing about the racetrack, and I said, what? You know?
This sounds right.
Yeah, and I said, what? He said, you probably ought to be there, So I go, okay. So I went, and I'm going, you don't sleep at night when stuff like this, because you just know they're not going to be on your side.
Dude, just wheels are spinning, you're tossing and turning, you're like, no. What
a lot
am I
of
going to have
times
to deal with?
you make a bigger problem than it really is. So anyway, so we get there, and the neighbors that I was involved in a financial land buy, 86 acres, all these people that were complaining. I actually was involved in the land, and the reason I got involved was to make sure that in the contract it said that they couldn't complain about the noise, because we were trying to protect the racetrack. Come to find out, since the racetrack's been here since the 1940s, it has no sound ordinance and it has no curfew. So pretty much during this hearing, they brought it up, and they figured out I was there, and the county attorneys advised him, like, he has no curfew, he has no sound ordinance, and if you shut him down, he's probably got the best lawsuit I've ever seen against this county. So I was like, whew.
Were you just in the back of the courthouse,
Well,
maybe did you have like a cat you were petting?
I was so happy, and I asked him if I could speak, and he said, yeah. And I said, listen, and this is back when we started at 7:00, and we were happy starting at 7:00, and we didn't want to change it. But I said, listen, to address these problems, I can start a couple hours early, and that's when we made the 4-wheelers to have turn downs, and anything we could do to make it better for the neighbors.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the idea was I don't know, it's not really a judge. It was, but basically the county commission, they said, you don't have to do this. And I go, no, I want to be neighbor friendly, So I said, I'd be more than glad to meet with everybody after the hearing. And we met with a few of them, and they were surprised that there wasn't anything they could do, but it was pretty cut and dry. Like, there's nothing you can do. You move next to a racetrack, and but we try to be done by 11:00. We try to do the best we can with our sound. We have some loud bikes. We do talk to them about it, but you want to be an asset to your community. You don't want to go in there and be like, I don't have to listen to you. That's not the right attitude to be around 46 years. So
yeah, you don't want to do that.
So we're
you start puffing the chest, the neighbors are going to start puffing back, kind of thing.
This city's been so good to us. We've tried to be as good back to them, and if you think about the people that grew up here, the history here, And if you took that away from a lot of these people, I don't think I even realize the impact it's had on a lot of people's life. But I can be in California or Utah or anywhere, and somebody will come and say, "Hey, Randy," it's amazing the people we have touched across the country
Yeah.
that have been to this racetrack. Then I was racing cars when I quit racing motorcycles, and we had bicycle tracks, we had go-kart tracks, and we had mud runs, and so we were into a lot of different things. So we knew a lot of people,
Yeah.
But I will say this: the motorcycles by far the coolest people.
Well, I'm gonna say about the impact you had on my life, and you're probably gonna kick me out after that.
Oh boy, here we
But
go.
I lost my virginity in that bar right over there, sir.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you that. I can't tell you some other very famous people did too. Yeah, that was.
What are the names?
No, I'm not going
Come
there.
on.
No.
Come on, spit it out. You need another beer? Come on. Okay.
But that was kind of a funny running joke about the old barn.
Dude, I had a.
Yeah.
Was it that plate in that arm? No, it was the first time I broke this wrist, which I just broke New Year's Eve. No, I was in a cast, got laid in that barn right over there.
Yeah, that's.
We're still really good friends. I talk to her all the time. She's had 2 kids, beautiful family. Yeah, my wife and her are buddies.
Yeah. No, I'm very aware. Very aware. I have had to go get a few out of there through the years. Like, hey guys, can't do that up here.
Did you ever walk in and you're like, what the?
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Move on.
Oh, I'm drunk. Okay, good times.
It is good beer though.
Yeah, it is some good beer. Dude, you're in banquets.
Yeah.
From the time they were the best ever. How the hell did you get all that support and all the cool shit to give people? I remember somebody telling me, like, dude, I raced Randy's series. I walked away with this, an RM85, this. Like, dude, you had so much support.
So we tell a joke at the banquet a lot of times when we started. Well, when I got to track, you're young, you're ignorant, you don't know nothing, And fortunately, Beverly Hampstead helped me a lot in the early days.
Yeah,
Bill West.
Yeah.
And they, even though we weren't an AMA track, and the reason when we weren't an AMA track, I called them up and I said, "Hey, I got this track. I'm want to be an AMA track." They go, it's $19 or $10, $9.95, whatever it was.
F
then.
that! I'm not paying that shit.
No, it wasn't that. I go, okay, I'm all in. What are you gonna do for me? You go, well, nothing. I said, you're gonna keep my points? You're gonna do mail-outs for me? What are you gonna do? Nothing. You're supporting the AMA. I'm going, bullshit. So what happened was I decided to sell my own cards. So all these tracks that have membership cards, I'm the problem. I started that.
Dude,
I started that. So,
yeah, I remember when I went to Georgia and they were talking about, like, you got to have a membership card. I was like, wait, or you don't have to have a membership card. I was like, no, that's a thing in Florida where I'm from.
Well, so anyway, the AMA wasn't going to do anything for me, so I did my own membership card. So our first banquet, we raised $1,500. You can almost remember it's $33, $1,533 for our banquet fund. I'd put in so much money each week from the riders, and that's what was going to pay for my banquet. Back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we ended up buying Bell helmets. They call Moto 3s, I think is what they were called back then.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
What year?
79.
Yes, there's the Moto 3 helmet sitting next to my 86 CR500 in my studio back in Georgia.
See, I'm not having a Joe moment. I'm pretty sharp still,
Yeah.
At times, Some of the times I don't know. But we did, we bought this. So anyway, I didn't think of the damn name of the thing. Motorcycle stuff. That's where I thought your dad I'd have known.
He's talking to my cousin off camera right
Yeah.
now, by the way.
It's the beer. So anyway,
Take a few more swigs of that. We're going to get some
motorcycle
good
stuff.
stories out of you. We're going to keep going.
so motorcycle stuff. So we would go through the distributor that was in Tampa, and he would let us pick some stuff out and sell it to us wholesale or give it to us. So they had these Scott 3-finger gloves. It was so embarrassing. So, the technology was, I guess you must use 2 fingers on the clutch. So the glove those 2 fingers had its own finger. 2 fingers. So you.
Wait, like that?
Not like that.
It's not like that?
No.
No?
Different.
Okay.
Different type of glove. So, I swear. So, evidently, they couldn't sell them damn things. So, they give them to, and I was so proud of those gloves, man. I was like, yes, yes. So, I'd take anything. And a big gift to me was like a Ratio Right cup, because they were cheap, and we would, it was cool, to think back and go. So the running joke was we had so few people at the original banquets, we used to go to the homeless and give away tickets so they could come eat for free. So it looked like we had a lot of people. So yeah, those first banquets were, but it was cool, and we've done them every year since we started. But that's why
the food
card
is so good.
That was
You want to
Mom.
know one of the dumbest mistakes I've done in my life was to get my tongue pierced an hour before a banquet where I couldn't eat all the
That's
food.
probably not the brightest thing to do. at the
Look, I
beginning.
was fucking stupid back then. Oh, I'm not much smarter right now, but I'm just saying that. Yeah, I remember I was like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I see. I'm not a tattoo guy. I'm not a piercing guy. I'm just.
Look, here's the thing. I'm not a
into it.
tattoo guy either because I can get rid of tattoos easier than I can my wife and kids.
Yeah.
Kid.
Kid. Whatever.
Now, I've got one that I know of. But a piercing, take it out, good to go.
Not happening. Guess I'm not into pain. I don't want to hurt myself.
Have you ever seen a Prince Albert? You want to?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
He has to go there. Such a nice, clean show. I'm going to talk to the guy off camera here.
This is
Can
not
you
a
take
clean
over?
show.
We were doing so good.
Look,
I thought you wanted history.
Look, I know you're on your second IPA beer. I feel like I've loosened you up a good bit. I'm just going to tell you that we're just
We don't
here
have
for a
any
good
more
time.
questions?
No, I've got a ton of more questions here. If they're like running together.
You see, I am not afraid.
What do we got?
I tell you when they're true, didn't I? Yeah, pretty much.
Urine
Yeah, that's good.
events, Tim Ferry.
Yeah, I've seen Tim here. Tim's here.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I would say I was trying to model my career after somebody, it would be him. I'm just a big fan.
Dude, Timmy's awesome.
I'm just,
He and I have actually kind of become buddies the past few months.
yeah, no, I mean, when he was racing for the championships, they were using him and Grant Langston were up at my place training together. And they're going to race for the championships the next week. And they're on different brands, and they're at the same facility, and Timmy would ride, and Grant would ride, and they just left each other alone. They just needed to ride.
Yeah.
Just class people.
Yep.
And when I seen that, I said, man, what a neat thing to watch. What class people they are. It's just good. Not like one of those riders nowadays. But
You talking about the Brooksville place
Yeah.
next to Croom?
Yeah.
Like the corner?
Yeah.
You kicked me out of there too.
Well, you probably weren't invited to ride there.
Well, I thought I was.
Yeah. When you cut
Turned
the
out
fence and jumped over the fence, Yeah. See, there's always more to the story.
No, Timmy Baker told me that I could come
Oh,
there.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Now let's go there.
No.
You see, I'm not the bad guy in these stories.
You're never that's the thing that I'm so pissed off about. You're never the bad guy.
Most of the time, not. It's true. When we tell the whole story.
Yeah, when you tell the whole story. All right, so how did Day in the Dirt become here? Because 2 years ago, I came to this event, and you happened to just walk by me as I'm in line. I'm like, Randy. And you looked at me. I go, you don't remember me. And then I started talking. You go, Holy shit. And then I was just like, what? I didn't even know that fucking parking lot over there existed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was like,
No,
dude, this place is bumping.
no. There's a lot of things that made Day in the Dirt happen here. This is definitely not my style of an event. The craziness and, I'm more.
Really? You're more conservative?
Yeah, more
and you're just
conservative,
like
not
that
party.
guy,
No, yeah. I'm kind of like, so.
You're such a nice guy, though, after a few IPAs.
I know. I've had enough. I've had my one. You open the other one, I'm not drinking it. So.
No. All
No,
right.
but anyway,
You sure?
yeah, I'm going to give it to the guy off camera.
Take it.
Yeah, take this. Don't waste it. It's against the rules.
Damn it, I really thought that was going to con you into drinking that.
Yeah. So what was the question?
Fuck, I'm too fucked up to remember. Day in the Dirt, how did this become about? Because you've got like the Glen Helen, like national stuff about it. How did it become here? And honestly, this is the perfect event for it. You've got all these cool. I didn't even realize how much stuff you had back there
Yeah, we
2
didn't
years
either.
ago. And
Yeah.
the pull you have with the county to get to run everybody up the straight road or the street road.
Well, that when I was young, we got to do those kind of things,
No way.
Yeah. So
Really?
yeah, and so
What was it like being in the 40s?
It's not the 40s, but it was cool to get to run through cities and different stuff. And
Yeah.
But anyway, I will say, and most people wouldn't think this, but Ronnie Renner was a big part.
No shit. Okay.
I would say Ronnie Renner had an idea. He was a Red Bull athlete at the time, and he pitched it to Red Bull, and one of the Red Bull guys, I won't use names, don't like to drop names, but anyway, they thought about it, and then the connection with Day in the Dirt, Kenny Alexander out in California, so they flew me out there, and I tell you right now, there was a year it was flooded, and we had to come in the back gate, but anyway, the race was going on, but I come up over that hill at Glen Helen, and I'm looking at this. And I said, "We put all these people in Dade City. Let's just get this straight. This ain't gonna work. This is not working." So, and I'm going, well, probably the first year it's not going to be that big, And so we decided to do it, and it's a very different format because this is Kenny Alexander's race. It's his vibe. We just buy a franchise to do it. So it's they're here at the event.
Mm-hmm.
So we pretty much don't want to ruin his event. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of stuff to hold to try to make it a good event. But man, it's very different than East Coast racing.
Yes.
So it took a couple years to get our head wrapped around it.
And not to mention the COVID aspect of it.
That's another story I got to tell you. So they call me. We got a bunch of people here. We got this place packed. I think we get practice in one day. That night, they call me at the gate. Say, "Hey, we got 20 sheriffs out here want to talk to you." Hey, what?
It's like the first time you ever ran a race here.
Yeah. No, it's only a couple. You got to go there, don't you? But yeah,
Yes, I do.
I went down there and they said, "Hey, since the president said, it's a national problem or whatever you want to call it, crisis, you got to shut this down." I'm going, what? And we're behind the scenes with Red Bull, so we know about COVID.
Yeah.
And we see what's happening, and they're keeping up with this live, and we're we got 10 of the VIPs with Red Bull here, Brass, and they're kind of a worldwide company going, this is not probably a good idea to be running this event, and then what do we do? Because nobody knows what to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, the sheriff comes in us, and I know him, and he goes, "You gotta shut this down, Randy." And I said, "Okay, I'm being disrespectful. But tell me what happens if I tell you no." He says, "Well, we can't tell you. You got to shut it down." Okay. Well, tell me really what happens here. So he goes, "Well, we're going to put deputies at the gate. We won't let anybody else come in. They can leave." So you're stuck with what you got. And then politically with Red Bull, I don't think it was the right thing to do. So Red Bull makes the decision that we're going to shut it down, and versus buck the law and all this stuff. So it gets better. So anyway, so we come in and we got this plan, and there's
Tell me more.
yeah, there's a concert going on, up there, and Travis Pastrana's here, and so the cop goes, "You got it." I said, "Well, you need to go up there and tell them that we're going to shut this down." He said, "No, it's your event. You tell them." I said, "You got the gun." I'm not telling them. So anyway, I go up there with the police behind me, and I say, "Hey, this is going on." And the crowd starts getting a little rowdy, not bad. And Travis Pastrana stepped up on stage, and man, he lit them up.
Yeah.
And he saved my butt, and so we had come with a deal with the police because they said immediately, and we finally talked to them. I said, "Well, so you want me to send all these drunk people out on the road?" Probably not a good idea, So these are true stories. So they call back and forth, then they said, "Well, can you be out by 9 o'clock in the morning?" I said, "We'll try. We'll see what we can do."
And the rest of the story I know is people were just passing out vodka, liquor bottles.
Oh my God, we partied the rest of the night. I can tell you that. So.
Like it was 1999.
Yeah. So it was that was an experience. But this is what's really people don't understand about the quality of a company that Red Bull is. We have stages rented that are thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah,
15, 20,000. We got bands coming in for this. We've got
welders, the dudes doing the cool sand stuff.
They
right?
paid everybody.
Yeah.
They paid everybody full, just like the whole weekend went on, out of their pocket. And
that's commendable. And honestly,
it's amazing.
Steve and I were setting up today, the Red Bull guys were at that table, and they're like, "Are you guys doing a show?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, but like Randy, he's busy. I don't know if we're gonna even get him on." And they're like, "We're gonna go in the trailer." I'm like, "Guys, no, just no. They're really quality people.
Amazing,
you could tell.
Amazing, and not sucking up. Because they'll probably never hear it, but it's serious. It's amazing company. It's amazing.
That's kind of a dick move. They're not going to hear this.
Yeah, sorry. Well, it's me and you. Come on. Or are we ranking? But no, it's been a pleasure. And if you never know, our relationship could end. Next one, we may not do it again. We may do it again.
No way. Like this is such a fun event.
I hope it's always here. But I mean, it's been the plan.
Yeah,
but,
as long as I'm not broken, I'm here, bro.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people here, and they do. It's a good event.
Yeah.
So, but good company to work with. I'm very, very pleased to be associated with them.
Oh, cool. Well, dude, like I said earlier, I can tell you from my personal life experiences, you've been a big part of that.
Oh, thanks.
My cousin is sitting right there, dude, like Dade City was just a staple for who made us men,
We've we've had a lot of kids, and what's really cool is to see the success of people after you know them as kids.
Yeah.
Then they come back, and it's really funny because they'll come back and this guy be like 6'5". I said, "Was I nice to you when you were a kid?" I asked him, "Are you sure I was nice to you?" "Yeah, Randy, it's all right. Don't worry." So it's I'm on like 3 generations now.
Really? I thought you were like 7 or 8 generations.
No,
aren't you
we're
close to
probably
retiring?
3,
Come on,
3 or
bro.
4. No,
Come on, you got to be close.
No, we see a lot of I tell you, grandkids. I'll give you a little secret on grandkids. Just bypass the kids and go right to grandkids. So much better.
No, because my parents, they're the assholes now. That's their grandkids. They're giving them sugar and all kinds of shit and sending them home. And I'm like, no.
Them grandkids are something, man.
I'm confident my kid hasn't had soda.
Yeah. No, that's something too.
No, the fucking grandparents have given it to him, right?
No, it's terrible. It's terrible.
No, but I mean, there's other things I could keep going on, but dude, to take this time to come in here and do the show with me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. It's been fun. I usually I'm kind of busy, but this is the best time for me, when it's
Yeah.
over. But, after a Saturday night race, I go home. I just like to sit and relax for a little while. And this is relaxing. I'm pretty transparent. I don't, if you come to our riders meet, I kid them all. I said, don't do it on the internet. Do it to my face. Come on. Be a man. That's how we used to do it back in the day.
Yeah.
Come on, say something up here. I won't hold it against you. It's an open mic, But I think people need to know the inside, how we run it, how we think, how we do this, or the problems that we have in all this together. It's not, why does he do that? Why does he do that? It's something as silly as when we collect money on a Saturday, we do a school. So we got people in at no gate.
All right. Sorry to cut you off with that.
You gotta cut me off now.
I'm going to cut you off there.
Jeez.
My dad was such a cheap ass. I was too broke. I would sit in the stands in your schools Saturday mornings just so I could learn shit. Because we didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I tell people all
like,
the time.
elbows up, do this, do that. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
That's how we learned back in the day. He's in the same boat. We would be in the fucking stands, not paying $1 because we're fucking broke as shit.
But, I get another.
Send it. Let's go.
So we tell people all the time, if you don't have money, just come listen. We don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother us. But and this, I'll never. This is a lie. Okay, it's a lie. I'm a lie. But I was so broke as a kid when I first started racing. I slipped in the races, snuck in, because I didn't have the money, and so I haven't forgot that. I made a lot of the trails when there used to be woods over there. I made the trails so we would laugh because we knew how to catch them because I made the damn trails, But, so if you ever get caught slipping in, you just better come clean because if you come clean, I'll let you in. Because if it's money,
but you got trash duty.
We're probably going to let you in anyway. But, it's being a little broke kid myself. So that's a toughie, when they don't have the money to come and you want it so bad. You want to go to the race so bad. So anyway, don't get caught slipping in. And if you do, come clean.
Dude, I lost my band today. Like his dad working for Helmet House got us like a free VIP interest through Fast House. I lost my band at Croom.
So
I had to pay another $50. And I was like, you know what? I'm fine with that.
So anyway, we're doing the Night in the Dirt with Hunter and Jed and Rocks and all that. I don't know if you didn't support that.
No, that was the year before I came here.
But right before this. So anyway, we're up here and we got everybody in the Red Bull semis here and we're doing our thing and getting ready. And Dan Truman, big in the industry. Dan calls, grew up in Dade City. And so he calls one of the Red Bull guys and the Red Bull goes, just drive around the line and come in. He says, oh, no. I'm listening on the phone. He's got my speaker. He says, hey, no way, man. Ready to throw my ass out. So I said, Dan, you can drive around the line. It's okay. He said, no, Randy, I can't, man.
Dude.
So, it's so funny, and I'm laughing, and they're like, what's going on? I said, it's a long story, but I think I traumatized some of these kids, back in the day. So
dude,
it's funny now.
I remember hearing about a time you got Chad Reed to come here in like 03. And he went through the gate, and I don't remember her name, but she was a Keelan, was always...
Carolyn,
Yes,
Carolyn,
yes, thank you. Carolyn charged him to get through the gate, and you went running back to give him $10 to get Chad Reed $10 to get back in the gate.
There's so many stories. If you run this track... it's wild. I tell you what, it's a lot of these top athletes, like, they want to pay. They don't want in free and stuff. And some do, some don't. But it's neat to know as many people as I get to, in the position of owning the racetrack, I get to meet a lot of these guys. Normal guys wouldn't get the opportunity. So, but I'm going to tell you, all these new pro guys, that are around this area, they're class people. I don't know any of them that I don't like. They're just really hardworking,
You wouldn't
good
kick
kids.
any of them out?
No. I like them guys. No. No. I mean, well, you come up here, the whole destination team used Dade City before they went over there because everybody else's facilities were wet. So they're over here riding. We get to see that Eldon and them bring all the ATM and Husky guys over when their tracks are too wet, and it's neat, to see all those guys come over and ride during the week. Nobody knows about it going on, so we don't tell them. But
The Tuesday night practices
No.
that everybody else knows about in Florida, but you have to be on the cool guy list.
you got to be on the
get
cool.
in.
Well,
That one that I never got an invite to. Okay,
The-
I'm
the
not
cool
sour.
guy-
I'm not sour about it at all.
Yeah.
Okay, but I know about the cool guy Tuesday practices. Okay.
So we have a really good reputation, or a list of guys that have become pretty good pro riders that were on those teams.
I know. But I'm not fucking one of them.
We won't say any names, but probably the best riders in the world. But but I really don't want to do it anymore. It's because I'm getting kind of old and maybe I don't know what I'm doing anymore. But let's don't go there. But
Hey, as long as you don't start getting hey, you guys pay at the gate right now?
But
What's going on?
we do like to. We do have a theory, a building block process that we have.
Let's hear that.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about this. Let's say parents doing it right, parents doing it wrong, and Randy doing it wrong and right, and watching a million times people do it wrong. And I see that a lot. And I did it wrong a lot. So probably as a racer, the worst thing I think I could ever used to make me laugh during the middle of a race is I stand on a track waving, telling you to go faster, and I'm going, oh shit. What do you think I'm doing?
It's as far as it can go.
I swear, every time I seen that, I was going like, no shit. I'm going as hard as I can go, Why?
At least put on there pass for a
I just
blow
need to know
job,
how far
something.
behind. I can see how far behind him. If I got a lead, just let me know how far it is. Is it getting smaller or larger? That's all I need to know. But anyway, it's I will say, and this is no fault of the parents, the ignorance of the parents that are getting into the sport and maybe listening to the wrong crew or thinking they've got it the right idea. I would say, sadly, 90% of them got it way wrong
Yeah.
on what it takes to build a rider. They think hitting that big triple jump makes them a good rider.
No, because my dumbass has done that.
Yeah, well,
Or the jumps that you made that weren't made to be jumps that broke my back. That's those kind of things where some dumbass is gonna still try it.
if you can't do basic braking techniques, can you ride without a clutch? Is your angles right? Is your power management right? Is your front braking technique correct? If you can't do none of these, you don't need to hit that jump. Okay?
Don't tell 15-year-old me what I was doing wrong. Okay?
Correct. But so I think that's where I guess I do it because I want to, not for the money, the little bit of money. So I do it because I like, but they got to drink the Kool-Aid. If they're not all in. But I think the key is, to me, is the parents, the ones that I've been around that have made it. If you look closely, the parents end up being the coaches.
Yeah.
Big James, Jeannie. All these people end up being the coaches.
Yeah.
Well, they're there watching. So let's say they watch me, they watch Ezra Lust, they watch this guy, they watch that, and they put their own program together. I asked Chad Reed one time, I said, Chad, when he first come over and was riding over with Timmy and them, I said, man, you're technically really good. I said, how did you get that good? You got that good at racing down there? He says, I watched American films and studied riders. Me and my dad. And I said, wow, it worked,
Obviously.
But it's not about going fast. It's being able to technically be correct, learning your craft, learning how to ride. And there's just so many steps, and going out on, okay, let's just say 3 pretty good riders that came out of here.
Some, yeah.
3 pretty well-known ones.
Yeah. Any Anthony Bennett? No,
No,
not
I don't
so much.
remember him. So let's say these kids all grew up here racing first 3 or 4 years. And I think the Dade City Sprint is totally different type of racing than motocross. Like Timmy come over here one time. He's factory Kawasaki. He's won championships, and he's riding on a Thursday night here. And he goes, "Randy, this is so different. I ain't never had to go so damn fast. Can't rest at all."
Dude, Thursday night practices, you were all out as soon as the
right
went. Dude, it was gnarly.
I think a lot of these guys took their Dade City Sprint to motocross.
Yeah.
I was kidding RJ. A couple days ago, we were talking. I said, "RJ, you invented sending it." Bubba did the scrub. You invented sending it. I said, it's so cool. We were laughing about that, So, but I think it's great that people think of RJ as having heart.
Yeah.
That he's going to give 100%, and I'm just proud to know him. A little bit I've got to hang out with him and work with him a little bit, and just class guy.
Yeah.
Can't say enough. Good guy.
Well, dude,
We going
I
to sleep?
do want to keep this going.
Oh,
And
you
I
want to go?
can-
You cut me off.
No,
He's cutting me off.
no, if you want to keep going,
No,
I'm gonna let you go. Come
No.
on.
No, you don't have any questions. You just throw it down. You don't want to debate me here anymore. He brings out the bad stuff about me pitching people, Then he wants to go home.
All right. You want
He got what he wanted.
All right.
Got what he wanted.
All right. Here's a good one that I want from you. What would
I don't
you
want to talk about that.
and we're done.
Yes.
Now, what advice would you give to somebody today, the 19-year-old you today, that wanted to start their own track with a $100 possibility loan, that kind of situation? What do you think that person could do?
I think it is a great business. I think the problem or advice I would give him, if you think about Dade City is not the biggest jumps. It's not the biggest thing. It's built for the masses.
Keep your riders safe,
Yeah,
right? Dude,
well,
that's
think
something
about it.
I've
That's what we did.
said forever.
Well, why are we more? So this is what would happen: is you would come to the racetrack and you talk shit to your friends, how good
I
you
would
are.
never do that,
No,
sir.
I mean neither.
No.
How
yeah.
good you are. Then you turn around and you show up on Saturday night and you get your ass handed to you, and then you don't want to race anymore because you can't handle the track. So we used to do a Supercross on Friday night before the Winter Amps. This is back in early '80s, and we would do a Friday night Supercross, and we do a Thursday night practice. Well, all the locals would be there Thursdays, and they would get smoked because we had a lot of good riders. I mean, Hannah rode it, Guy Cooper rode it. There's a lot of good guys that rode these races, and the bottom line is they couldn't back up their shit talking, so they didn't want to race in front of everybody. So if we make the track mellow, they're all good.
Yeah.
But when you go onto a full-blown Supercross track, it ain't all that easy, guys.
No.
You're on a whole different level with these guys. But yeah, I would make the racetrack safe for the masses. I wouldn't want to thump my chest that I got the biggest, baddest jumps of anything. I think that's the worst thing you could ever do.
No, but you'll put jumps close enough together where idiots like me and other fast dudes would fucking try them.
Right. But, I think you build a racetrack to make people feel good.
Yep.
I think Kyle Cheeseman that's doing their tracks for us now, he's doing an excellent job. He's got some really cool stuff. It's safe. And I tell you, if you first look at the track that Baker built here, you go, ooh, it's kind of crazy looking, but it's so easy. It
Yeah,
pops you right
exactly.
over because he's a professional. He knows what the hell he's doing.
One of my
You know?
woods buddies never jumped anything. I convinced him to come here because I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, no, I'm telling you, dude, it's a lot of fun, but it's the jumps are safe, you know?
Well, I'd like to take credit for this, but I ain't even been around the track. I have not even looked at it.
Sir,
I did the layout
I'm sorry,
beforehand.
but I'm going to call you on bullshit because we waited here for an hour and a half while you were watering the track.
Now
Okay?
front straight away. The front straight away. You know, I haven't been out no man's land. I haven't been in another back section. You know, so the I don't know what that's like this year. And but I want to definitely see it. I'll do a sweep. I can still ride one lap. I think probably maybe.
That's about what I got in me too.
Whew, it's tough.
So, what has been the most rewarding part in this whole endeavor? From 1940s or 70s? Sorry, I'm sorry. What 70s? Okay.
I don't know if that's 50-some years ago almost. So quit
Actually,
it.
what is from
46.
46? Yeah. So 46 years. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's 6 years older than
I know.
Yeah,
That's
me.
crazy. Crazy. So what was the question?
Fuck, I don't know. No, what was the most
Is he
rewarding?
always this bad? Okay.
I'm not bad, sir. I'm just intoxicated.
okay, yeah.
We're having a good time.
We're bench racing.
No, like what has been probably the most rewarding thing from you out of all this?
I think the success of it, to me, is a high. I think when you have a business that is successful and we've had steady growth and we've come from nothing. We're self-made.
No. You came from $100
$100. Well, it was borrowed, so we're pretty much come, and we had a little help in the beginning. But making it this far, and the amount of people, just like you, the people that come up and I talk to, and I see people 30 years ago, they'll come up and see me. They'll come all the time. It's humbling, how it's really neat. You forget what a big part of Dade City is of their life.
Yeah.
Because usually when they're here with their kids racing motorcycles, that's the best time in their life. They remember that forever, and I remember the first time I raced here at Dade City, and I told everybody in the neighborhood how I was going to kick ass. I was a badass dude. Well, I got triple dog last, and it was horrible. And my buddy Garrett Morgan was making fun of me right up by the barn where you got your stuff there,
Yeah.
And me and him were on the ground fighting. I swear to God, I punched him, because I deserved him to talk shit about me because I talked enough shit that I was going to be the baddest dude in town. And it was horrible. I got waxed, but I did get in a fight. I fought him. I did. We still talk about it, But yeah.
What other stories like that can I get out of you? Come on. We've got you choked, got you fight.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. And, back in the there was one guy doing some flyers one time, and I was pissed. It was so I stuffed him in the garbage can upside down. Flyers and all. I was pissed. Yeah, that was some crazy days. I forget about some of this stuff, and I think back, like, God damn, Randy. No wonder your reputation is.
Oh man.
All good stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
unless you want to unleash on any more.
No,
of
I'm
those,
good. I think we've had enough. Stepping the guy and watch his little feet wiggle because he couldn't get out of the can, and I wasn't helping him.
So what does the future hold besides retirement? Like what do you maybe see of what the future holds for this?
I'll hope we run it a few more years for sure. I mean, I'm 66, so we'll be here at least. I think I'll be running at least 51 before the lease runs out or whatever. But we'll be here over 50 years, which is probably enough. But I have bad spending habits, so I don't know if I can afford to retire. So I don't know. I think delegating to more, making sure it goes down the right road and having help run it, like Kyle's been helping. And but I see me stepping down more and more. You know, it's
But still kicking people out when you
no,
need to,
no.
right?
We try
Right?
not to do. My wife won't let me do that no more. Teresa will not let me do that. You know, it's so funny. The old school guys like you know, somebody rip through the pits and they go get him, Randy, go get him, go get him. You know, and I go, nah,
Or just
whatever.
like a lot of like guys by age would be like, kid, look,
Yeah.
you don't want to
No,
go down
but
this
they go,
road.
man, they were so hard. You were so hard on me when I was a kid. You're letting them go now, Randy. What's going on? Quit it. Go get them. You know. So it's funny to think about that. How people, you know, like, no, you can't let them go. Get them like you got us. You know, but no, those days
No, it's
are
a
gone.
rite of passage. Yeah,
Yeah.
get the rest.
Get them. Nah, let them go. I got grandkids now. They're good. But no, I don't know. I hope it stays here a long time. You know, I would like to get it. I don't know. I don't know what to do to make sure it doesn't go away. You know, because that could happen because of people just aren't interested. You
Yeah.
know, not somebody would always want to run it, but boards and fair boards that say,
Yeah.
well, we don't want to do that anymore. Oh, that would be traumatic. And it wouldn't be not traumatic to me, but to the people. I mean, I would miss it, don't get me wrong, but that's not what I'm talking about. I think people missing this track, it would be traumatic to the industry in this area.
Yes.
So I'm trying to make sure we keep it for a while.
All right, well, we're gonna figure it out, sir.
We're gonna do the best I can.
No, and I said it earlier, like, dude, this track, this place, the memories, like, it's stapled in me for the rest of my life. It made
Yeah.
me the somewhat of a man I am today. And
I hear that a lot from a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, we had some people that raised a kid here and racing, and you know they eventually quit. But then their other kids grew up, and they brought him back. Said, "Randy, my kids
Yeah.
did so good here. They get in trouble, and they learned a
straighten
lot."
them out.
I think there's a lot of life lessons besides racing.
Yes.
You know, because there's a lot of life lessons.
Yeah, not just what happens in the bar.
And we've had some people that their daughters raced here for quite a while, and the kids would hardly talk to anybody. You know, they were
Mhm.
really just to themselves. And 4 or 5 years in it, and they were everywhere. And one of the daughters runs a big company now, and I seen her at lunch one day, and she come over and thanked me, and just, Randy, I was so scared of you. I
don't know why.
But well, they come to our schools every week, you know, we teach them, and I said, I'm so scared, you know, but, you know, she says, you know, I got to talk to people, and I come out of my shell, and, you know, so those things are kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you do see people come and they totally change, but the motorcycle people in general, I deal with all different groups, are the best bar.
Yep.
You know, and that sounds like a suck up because I'm in the business.
No,
but
it's the truth.
I've been into car racing, I've been into skydiving, I've been into boating, I've been into everything, and there's nothing like the motorcycle
Yeah.
people. You know, so
Well,
that's
I
it.
don't.
We'll end it there. How's
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and I don't do this too often. I'm not a hugger, but I'm gonna give you
Oh.
a man hug
Oh, I got
on
a hug?
behalf of
Oh,
every person that would love to do this to you.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
honestly. Thank you
I
for everything
appreciate
you've
it.
done for the motorcycle community, and especially in Florida.
All right. So you look at things different after the interview, or did you know
No,
all
you're
this
still
stuff?
an ass.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
let's have another beer.
and I actually do have a few like sponsors that actually pay for this show, so I'm gonna
Are you gonna do
plug
that?
them right now. We're gonna end the show. I thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And when I told you, I was like, we're 15 minutes into this. We're like 50 minutes into this.
You kidding me?
We're an hour and 40 into this.
Holy crap!
I told you this was going to fly by. You're not going to realize it.
How does an audience stay tuned in for that long?
Cocaine and hookers.
Yeah, won the lotto. That's what I'm going. You know.
Wait, you got some of that?
Yeah, that was
Let's
that was the greatest interview I have. reporter asked that guy that. Cocaine and hookers. She didn't know what to do.
Oh, damn. I thought you meant this was the greatest interview ever done.
No.
Oh,
Come
damn
on.
it.
Well,
Okay.
it's actually been a good one. I will clean the beer. How's
All
that?
right.
So
Thank
hey,
you,
thanks
sir.
again. I'm gonna get
No,
out of
for
here.
real.
I got a race to
All
run
right.
tomorrow.
I got a race to lose tomorrow.
See ya.
All right. Randy's out. Anybody watching? Thank you so much. Well, I'm on the wrong camera. So I do want to thank MX201 Track Designs for bringing us the show, as well as Hard Knocks Racing and Innovative Mechanics LLC. And we're going to play those reads. If you're in Georgia or know those people, give them a holler. Great dudes. That was amazing. And I'm drunk. Oh, yes. Dude. That was so much better than I thought it was gonna ever be. Dude. Do you want to come on and tell people about your first? Come on, throw the fucking headphone. Don't be a little bitch. Come on, you're an artist. My cousin is here. Is the opening and closing songs, the bands that you get to hear for the show. He is here. Come on. Come on. Don't be a little. Come on. Come on. Come on, Steven. All right, tell the story.
Well,
Tell your Dade City story. Let's hear it. That's what the show is supposed to be about, is people telling stories. Come on.
well, I can't tell the whole story because I don't want to embarrass my dad.
Fuck your dad. Let's go.
But there's, being out here, I think I had like an XR80, I think, at the time. It was probably like, 96, 97?
Yeah, that about lines up.
Yeah. And, out there scared shitless. Like, all these people flying by. I'm trying to, weasel my way up a tabletop and, like barely making it. And I'm thinking the whole time, oh, yeah, I'm going to go out and be some Supercross star. And then I can really get this XR80 up the fucking hill. And did a couple laps, came off. Dad, gave me a old pat on the back and some encouragement and just go back out there and do your best. And I go back out there. And, as you know, he taped a lot of that stuff.
Okay, I did not know this, but go on.
You and I have had this conversation at Disney Springs and about the tape.
Honestly, don't remember that. Honestly, most of the time, look, understand, most of the time when
Yeah.
I'm at Disney Springs, I'm with my family, and I'm trying to get drunk as shit because I just had to deal with fucking Disney.
Right.
So
That's the only way to deal with Disney is to be drunk as shit.
it took us an hour and a half to get through fucking Disney Springs last time.
I know.
There,
That's
they-
what.
the
Remember, I was like,
security-
"Hey, you're on your own this
Yeah.
time, buddy. I
You
love you,
left.
but I'm out." F this place, hardcore.
All right, so reiterate, what was the steps that happened or the things that happened?
Well, showing it off to my friends years later, because I was just looking through, the whole setup of old VHSs we had stuff. I was like, "Oh, look, it's my first race. Cool." Pop it in the VCR. Things are going well.
VCR?
Yeah, the VCR. Remember when we had those?
No.
Way back in the day. It was a Tuesday. And yeah, then the tape cuts. And that's
Do you remember this story?
and I was just we can't air this, by the way.
It's live. We are live on YouTube, sir.
I hope nobody's watching this late.
So basically,
Oh my god.
there was something taped over Steven's first race, and it had to do with adult things. And
So
we're going to leave it at
your parents watch this show, and that's what scares me the most. Because your parents are going to talk to my parents. Oh my god, he's going to kill me.
Well, he's not important or knows anybody.
No, he's not.
Okay. With that, I'm gonna. I forgot that's where this is going.
Our next segment is brought to you by Hard Knocks Racing. They're a group of dedicated motorcycle enthusiasts since 1998. They're your go-to for Campfire Moto official gear. Soon launch an apparel line of their own. They excel in crafting all kinds of custom decals, like this badass sign behind me, from custom signs to full bus wraps and office customization. In fact, check out this work Anthony did at one of the well-known Japanese manufacturer's office who will remain nameless. They also crafted awards for prestigious events such as the Perry Mountain 24-hour race, Mill Creek Spring Classic, Dade Hair Scramble Series, and many more for local racetracks in the Southeast. Check out hardknocksracing.com or give Anthony D'Amico a call at 404-717-480.
Now it's time for some awesome tech tips.
Transform your comfort with Innovative Mechanical LLC, specializing in HVAC service for residential and commercial properties. They provide expert installation, maintenance, and repair. Their certified technicians ensure top-notch service, whether it's air conditioning, heating systems, or indoor air quality solutions. Serving Georgia since 1999, they prioritize customer satisfaction, prompt, reliable service at competitive rates, routine maintenance to emergency repairs. Trust Innovative Mechanical LLC for all your HVAC needs. Give them a call at 770-726-7407 or visit innovativemechanical.llc.com to schedule service and unparalleled comfort today.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt. I can't find the video. So there's that. But again, this has been a great show, and I hope everybody had fun, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Good night.